Hey there, welcome back guys. In today's video we're going to see and experiment how the DJI Mini 3 Pro actually works with the motion controller 2, which controls the avata. I was recently asked to survey one particular area that's along the river, and I'm not sure if this drone would be best with its propeller guards off and obstacle avoidance activated, or using the DJI avata, which is really agile and really designed for those small and tight spaces. But I only experimented with this a few times to see how it flies with the motion controller, and it wasn't the best experience. It was okay, so you know, who knows, maybe now it just works better. Without any further ado, let's get started and see how this actually works. So I've got my landing pad. We're just going to set everything up. This is a little tip for you new guys out there. So if you want to land the drone, most of the time, even for me on the first time, I was doing that. Why doesn't it land? And I was like, maybe it has to be in neutral mode or sport mode. No, that's not it. What happens is, to land the drone, if you're using this remote and not the avata, you're going to have to hold this down like this. See? Just press that down, the joystick button, and the drone will land. Okay? So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go into your settings, status, and see, not using bound device. You can still fly 5 times using your bound device for like serial number, etc., or go to the DJI Fly to change bound device, and then you go to switch. See that? And then you select your drone. Before it was, I believe, on the 03 air unit, right? Because I was flying the Pavo Pico. Let's see what drones we can fly this with, and some other drones. And then what you want to do is, you know, we selected the one that we have, but also see how we have remote ID functionality normal. This is great because you don't have to be tethered to anything with this particular, the newer goggles and motion controller. So in order to sync everything so that it works, you have to hold this button down for a little bit until it starts to flash. Like, wait for it. And it's going beep, 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 looking for it. I don't need to have it do that because it already found it. See, it's sunk. And then you do the same thing with the remote. You hold it down and then wait for it to find the Mini 3 Pro. And in order to do that, you hold this down like this, right? And wait for it to sync. I see it's sunk. It goes cheek. And then that's pretty much it. So now everything is working. All right, but what we really want to do is we want to see how this actually flies. I believe obstacle avoidance, that red dot there, we got 23 satellites, which is great, because I was recently asked to fly somewhere, and I'm not sure which drone to bring. Either this with the propeller guards on and the and the landing gear for the water, right? Since I'm going to be in the water, or just use the avata since it's really agile. It goes through corners, nooks, and crannies. But you know, it's still up in the air since I've never really flown along the water. I've flown over the ocean, but that's a little bit different than flying in a creek through branches and stuff. All right. So without any further ado, let's get started. All right, 3, 2, 1. Nice. I'm 3 feet. Oh, nice little sensor thing. I've never seen that before. Let me see if you guys can see. This is really interesting. But maybe because it's too low to the ground. I've never been so low before. All right, let's let it take off. Let's see if it takes off. All right, I'm going to put my goggles on. The motion controller actually works better than it did in the beginning. Let me get this out of the way so it stops beeping. So that we can see me. Can I see me? Let me see. Yeah. There we go. Better than it did in the beginning. In the beginning, it was just so not optimal and wasn't as intuitive and didn't work 100% the way you wanted it to and expected it to. Let's see if I can zoom in. Zoom in on your pilot. Oh, you can't zoom in on video. Let's zoom in like this. Yeah, so it's actually pretty good and works better than it did in the beginning, which was why I had gotten the avata, because when I got the when I first bought the goggles and the motion controller, it was pretty much flying like this. It was not so intuitive experience, perhaps after all the updates, which is why you don't buy anything when it first comes out. I'm like, this wasn't meant to be flown with this. It's just not working. And then finally, now, as it gets a little bit windy, it works really well, and it turns on a dime. And everyone's having that full experience where you don't have to go get the Avata, where you could actually control the drone using the motion controller too, and the goggles. So that's definitely good to know now. I wish I had known that before. And this was before the hack. This was when DJI actually released it and said, hey, you're good to go. But you weren't really good to go, because that's why I had gotten the Avata. I was like, this wasn't meant to be flown this way. But now you can. But the question is, what do I do? Use the DJI Mini 3 Pro with its floaties, or the Avata? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I hope this video helped you and you're better able to know what it's like with the motion controller and the Integra goggles, and you don't have to get the Avata. You can now fly it the way it was meant to be flown. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below, or ideas for other videos, and I'll see you all next time.